Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's Srimad Bhagavatam study with Raghu and Kaustubha, and hope you're having a good morning. We're here with the original Super Soul Sacred Sangha crew. Before we turn into Wisdom of the Sages, we had Tom S.A. Gobers here every morning, Mara here every morning. We're having a little reunion party at the farm.
That's the way it was back then.
That's the way it was. We're going to have a little upma later.
People don't understand Mara's main role back then was just kind of like the Ed McMahon kind of thing, right? She was just like, she was a laugh track in the back.
She was, what did we call her? Private girl
Private school giggles.
And she was like, because we did it on Instagram. So she would hold the Instagram phone and she would, my microphone was, I had no mic stand. So it was like set up on like a drinking glass, like just step like that. And my glasses were constantly breaking. I've become so much more professional, Kaustubha. Despite you guys might think, well, this guy's he's a little unzipped. No, I'm so much together than I was.
A major feature of Super Soul Sacred Sangha was also that you're constantly breaking your glasses. Now you changed them. It's like yesterday you had your Grand Wizard of Wrestling glasses on.
You know what it is? I just buy like 20 pairs. I do break them and I do lose them.
But you didn't buy them back then. You just
I just had one pair. The lens would pop out. It'd be missing an arm. And then Parmananda would write me privately on the message board. He goes, Prabhu, you really gotta zip it up, man. You're missing an arm. You're got to set an example. You can't just go around with duct tape on your glasses all the time, and you can't do a one eye patch. Did he play that role in Shelter too? Like, hey, you can't step on stage like this, you know. No, he did not.
This was a new
Parmananda was the one we had to reel in when we'd go on tour. He's the one we'd pull over at a gas station and he'd just go missing. I was like, he'd just go missing. What? I was chanting japa. What?
All right.
How are you doing?
Doing good.
Great. You want to see what I got? You're not going to believe this when you see it. It's the coolest thing I brought back from Radhakund. Wait till everybody sees this on Zoom.
Not that tile. That tile was lost. No. Oh, I've seen this already. Raghunath, this is old news.
What, you saw my Santa Claus bead bag?
We've seen that like back when you were there. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
It's a cool. Well, I brought it back for my daughter. I was like, she's going to love this. She's like, oh, thanks, but I'll never use it. I was like, you're kidding. And then I offered it to somebody else and they're like, oh, nice, but I'll never use it. I was like, you know what? I'm using the Santa Claus bead bag.
All right.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it was.
First time.
All right. Anyway, we got a big Zoom group. If you want to join us on Zoom, you can. Wisdom of the Sages 108@gmail.com. That's our email here. You can also use that email to write in questions. And that's that. What do you think about that?
I think it's time for a nugget.
Any announcements or nuggets?
I do have announcements.
Yeah. Oh, big announcement is Satchidananda Maharaj is coming out tomorrow, right?
Yeah, walk on Wednesday tomorrow. Satchidananda Maharaj we got. And he's going to talk about that yagya. Hey, Meryl, rubberneck your head over here.
Narsinha for Ukraine.
Rubberneck your head over in my aerospace here. I'm going to move my head to the left.
All right, with Bhakti Recovery Group meetings today, the men are meeting at 11 a.m. and the women meet at 2 p.m. And then I talked to Vivi about the Italy retreat, the Wisdom of the Sages Italy retreat this summer. And she requested that people who are interested should go to our website to sign up, wisdomofthesages.com/events. And there's a form you can fill out there. It's just easiest for keeping track. And then for Patreon members, tomorrow evening at 6:30 p.m., Lisa Bermudez is doing her essential oils for spring workshop.
I'm going to take that.
Cool.
I'm getting into oils, man. I'm serious.
Right.
I'm dead serious.
Easy with the oils, Raghunath, because anything could happen. We've seen in the past. You can mistake one oil for another, take large amounts of it, and then
Hey, I'm
come
taking
on
a
the
road
show.
trip to. Yes, I get it. I know what happened. By the way, I'm traveling south and to the Midwest, Nashville, Tennessee, Evansville, Indiana, and Nashville, Tennessee again, and Atlanta, Georgia. So if you want to come hang with me, you got to DM Hot Cindy Yoga. Hot Cindy Yoga, one of our Zoomers. And she's setting up that whole little tour for me. I'm excited to see all those peeps. Check that out. That's in April. All right, let's go into our nuggets, sir.
We got to know who's it from.
This is from you to me. No, it's from Mark Twain.
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain went to India. Isn't that cool?
He had some wonderful things to say about it too, right? Like
Yeah, he loved India.
all of the culture and wisdom of the entire world is like nothing compared to what's in India. Something like that.
Yeah,
right?
something like when Greece was in its infancy,
Yeah.
and it's true. Imagine when was Mark Twain alive? 1800s something. Imagine traveling through India then. It must have been incredible.
Yeah.
Imagine traveling through India before the plastic bag. Right?
It would have been amazing. It would have been amazing, yeah.
I know. Maybe we have, my brother.
Sadhus you could meet.
Maybe we have. Maybe you were one of the sadhus I met, and you
Maybe
touched,
you or Mark
touched
Twain.
me on my forehead with a conch shell, and they say, "Oh, you want my association, young beggar?" Maybe I was Mark Twain. Maybe you touched me. You were a sadhu. You touched me with your conch shell and said, "You wanted my association. You will come back and get it in this holy place."
We will do a
But-
podcast together.
But because of your defiled American behavior and for writing Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, which is slightly racist,
Huck Finn. Not Sin.
you're going to have to come
Freudian.
back and see me in Vrindavan when there's plastic bags everywhere. And that was my curse and blessing. And you're my sadhu that I met in Vrindavan.
It's possible but unlikely. But let's hear what Mark Twain had to say.
Okay, here's what Mark says. In religion and politics, people's beliefs and convictions
Mhm.
are in almost every case gotten at secondhand.
Mhm.
Oh, I love this.
That's true.
And without explanation. Yeah, it's called an echo
With-
chamber.
Without examination.
Without examination. From authorities who have not themselves examined the questions at issue, but have taken them at second hand from other non-examiners whose opinions about them were not worth a brass farthing. I'm going to read that again. This is so good.
All right.
This is so good. This is everything we're experiencing right now.
let's
It's
hear
called Who's Going to Fact Check the Fact Checkers? Right?
Yeah.
What's the ultimate authority? In religion and politics, people's beliefs and convictions are in almost every case gotten at second hand and without examination from the authorities who have not themselves examined the questions at issue, but have taken them at second hand from other non-examiners whose opinions about them were not worth a brass farthing. This is what's going on. We're when we want to find out about something, we Google it. But what are the sources of that thing we're Googling? Like, what are the powers that be that are giving us that information? And it really, where does that lead? It leaves me really confused with who to believe in. Like, where are their sources? Everyone's got like, here's statistics that I've gathered.
Yeah.
And then they got some of that over here. Here's the science that we've gathered. And there's opposing sciences. What do you think?
I think that, what I take from this is that it's okay not to have conviction on any particular subject, right? It's like you don't have to swing all the way to the left. You don't have to swing all the way to the right. It's possible that we can just say, you know what, I'm really not sure. I'm kind of like moving through the world trying to do what's right. And I'm not about to dive into an argument with you and and constantly post stuff about this or that. That quite frankly, I'm just accepting what someone else posted, who was just posting what someone else posted. That sounds convincing, but you got someone posting something over here too. And we just all we're just so quick to think that we know or understand a subject that we likely don't understand at all. And it's not even that we have to go and figure out what's right or wrong. We just have to make the main thing the main thing. You know, it's like we've got so much time, we've got so much attention, we've got so much energy. Let's focus it on what's most important. You know.
So my question is this, my friend.
Yeah.
How do you know what the main thing is? Then how do you know what the main thing is? How do you know you're not just opting into a bunch of dogma yourself?
That's what I have conviction about.
You know? Okay.
You know, it's like that. That's the kind of thing. Okay, well, what is this human life for, and how am I going to spend it? You know, you invest some time into spirituality. You know, you study the books, you meet the people. You know, you see what resonates, you see what holds. You know, you put it to the test.
You know what? That's what we were saying yesterday. We were saying that, one thing is what the Bhagavatam is promising in those opening prayers that we say that will give you irrevocable, loving, devotional service within the heart. Mm-hmm. It actually delivers what it promises. And I remember being a young devotee, and because when you're a young devotee, you're like, A makes sense, B makes sense, C makes sense, but D through Z is still confusing and a massive leap of faith. And I would say, you know what? I don't know, but I do know A, B, and C really make a lot of sense. I'm going to take one step forward. I'm going to take one step forward. And in that one step forward, more and more just gets revealed to you. And then D makes sense. And then I'm going to take one little step forward again. And I find that on that bhakti path, faith is given in small increments. And we're not asking you to eat the entire pie at once. It'd be too much for you to digest anyway. Take it in small increments, apply what you can. And if it feels good, take a little step forward.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah. And you know what, especially actually, this all goes back to Yudhishthir and when he's being, quizzed. Remember? What is it by the
yaksha pragya? Wait,
yeah,
yaksha pragya.
Pragna.
Pragna yes. Is a questions by the yaksha. Yaksha they're sort of like peculiar higher beings with a twist of, I think I have a twist of dark side too.
Twist of dark side.
I don't think they're like completely
entirely.
Angelic. Yeah.
So
the yaksha asked him all these questions. It was like it was like a riddle session. It was a really cool riddle session if you like riddles.
Yeah.
It was like a chapter of riddles. And the final riddle was
it the final one? Do you know the one that I'm talking about?
You
plugged into it?
The famous riddle.
Well, there's more than one.
What is the most fantastic thing?
That's one, but that wasn't where I was going.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. But the one that I was the mahajana yena gatasa panta. I think it had something like how does one find truth or something like that, right? And Yudhishthir says, you know what? One expert says this, and then you're not considered an expert unless you're tearing down another expert, right? Okay. So now there's another expert that's tearing that person down, tearing down their arguments and so on. And then there's another person coming coming back again and saying no, that's all wrong, Like how many times
that was happening at the time of Mahabharata. You used to saying every expert's got their opinion. Every sage has their different opinion. Yeah. And we'll find within our lineage, there's a lot of branches of the lineage which are very, very identical, right? They'll have their own spin on something. And so I immediately want to dig in my heels and say their spin is completely off the spin. And then you can really paint yourself into a corner and just become a little fanatical. Where people are basically believing the same things as you hate them. It's a little trick by Maya.
I hate them. Yeah, right. But even if you don't hate them, you may still be searching for truth. Like, how do I understand what's the truth then? Even within the realm of say Eastern spirituality or Vedanta even, it's like, how do you know who's got it right? How do you know who's, And so
do we have it right? Do we have it right?
We got it right.
How do you know you're not just saying that?
Well, because this is what. Let me
What
just
does
read what
Maharaj
Yudhishthir
Yudhishthir
said.
say about this?
He said, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which Dharma is understood. Interesting, right?
Yeah, yep.
It's because
you can't just by doing. You can't just by studying.
yeah,
It's just not going to come to you studying it.
because if you look at Vyasa's works, some of them are recommending karma, like be pious and reap good material results, and some of them are recommending jnana, saying no, turn your back on the material world and escape and find peace.
If you were to meander into that Vedic bookshelf, you'd be really easily lost.
It's easy to be lost. Okay,
Yeah.
so again, dry arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from others is not considered a great sage. In other words, you establish yourself by differing from others. That's how right? Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which Dharma is understood. The solid truth of Dharmic principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated self-realized person. Consequently, the scriptures confirm that one should accept whatever progressive path the great souls advocate. You see? So in other words,
How do you discover who that great soul is? Right?
well,
If you don't know how to,
at some point you got to make a decision.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah, you got to
But-
just put.
But see
gotta
who
educate
embodies it. See who embodies it, right? Not just who speaks it, but who embodies it. Yeah.
I think the best thing people can do to get to this point, because now you got to discern who is that Mahatma, who is that great soul, who embodies that, who captures Krishna within their heart. The best thing you can do is to listen to wisdom of the sages and educate yourself, or read the Bhagavatam and educate yourself on
what is a sadhu.
What is a sadhu
what is a
anyway?
great soul? What is a mahajana? Yeah. So when you read about who are the mahajanas?
Mahajana means the great janas, the great people, or the great souls, the mahants, the Mahatmas. So
they're
who are
nine,
they?
right?
Mara?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're in. We're going to get this. Ready? We're going to get them all.
Janak?
There's 11.
Okay,
No,
Janak.
There's 9 or 11?
I think it was. I forget. I thought it was 9. I
No,
said
You guys
maybe
can't
it is
ask me
11.
if you don't know the answer.
No, is it 12? It's 12, isn't it? It's 12.
12 the 12
yeah,
Mahajanas.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
12
ready?
mahajans. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm counting. Ready?
Yeah.
Janak?
Janak, that's Sita's father. 1.
Okay, one.
Shiva?
Shiva,
Yeah.
yes.
Shambhu. Yeah.
Prahlad?
Prahlad, 3.
Yeah.
Narada?
Yes.
Yeah. 4.
The 4 Kumars?
That counts
You
as
only
1.
count as one.
Sorry. I'm an individual. Nathan Kumar is like,
Can I ever
Stop
name
lumping
about
me
me
in.
as a person? Yeah. Okay.
Boy, it's been a long time since.
did we say Prahlad?
Yeah, we said.
Yeah.
Oh, Bhishma?
Swayambhuva Manu.
Bhishma,
Boo!
Swayambhuva Manu.
Yeah.
Bhishma?
Grandfather Bhishma.
Yeah.
Yudhishthir.
Is he?
No.
No.
Maybe not. Come on, people, put it on the board. Mara's
Kapila.
stumbling.
Oh,
Kapila.
Sukadeva Goswami.
2,
Yeah.
5. 2 more.
Lord Brahma.
Yes.
Who's the last one?
Oh, is there one more?
Last one.
Krishna Drew, where are you when we need you?
Yeah, she knows this.
Oh,
stuff.
she's coming up. Oh, no, that's Vivi coming up.
Is Yamaraj one?
Bobby
You missed
Marchand
it.
says, "Who are the trees?"
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Karuna says
Yamaraj.
I said
Oh,
that
Yamarash. Okay.
Yamaraj.
We got them all?
Karuna stumped Mara again.
No, I said it before.
I want to see Karuna and Mara have a pillow
Oh,
fight wrestling match in Italy.
No, in
In
Italy, we're
Italy.
having like a quiz game. We got
Yes.
Karuna on one side and Mara
Yes.
on the other side.
It's what we did with
I need like a team behind me. Karuna.
Kelly Skinner
Phone
and
a friend.
Rocco
Mara's
and
like, I want to
Dominic
phone a friend.
Priya
again.
on my birthday. That was great. It's called anyway. I've got a whole game going on.
Okay. In
When
any
we get to-
case,
when we go to Italy, we'll do this. It'll be good.
but in any case, you can read Bhagavatam, read about the lives and the teachings of these great souls, of these mahajanas. And from that, you can get an idea of what a mahajana is. And then when you meet a person like that, right?
I met a
And that's-
person just like Lord Brahma.
Yeah, well, there are people that like what is Lord Brahma? He's that voice of reason, right? Like when everything was chaos. Remember Remember, we're reading about Daksha, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing broke into chaos. They all went to Lord Brahma. Who's like that? Who's the wise person that helps everyone figure everything out, and that's always, that's always stepping up, and it's got a cool head and is wise. And so you look for a mahajana like Lord Brahma. You look for a mahajana like Swayambhuva Manu. You look for a mahajana like Bhishma, right? Look at Bhishma. Look at his life.
Bhishma will tell you, if I've got any problem in life, Bhishma would be like the best therapist ever. Like, all right, it's my Tuesday afternoon with Bhishma, my Tuesday 4:00, laying on the couch. Grandfather Bhishma, I'm suffering. I'm having relationship problems. What's sagacious?
You have to do the dharmic thing. So in any case, that
Right.
this is important though, right? It's like, how do we find out who, where do we get the truth? You look for these people that first. You're right. You do have to study these books and try to understand what a great soul is. Really, what a great soul is. Not just one who's got the exterior polish of what we might think, that
Sadhu should
Swami,
look like.
yeah, whatever it might
Swami
be.
should look like. And
Yeah,
how
yeah,
they
yeah,
should-
yeah, yeah. Twinkle
Well,
in their eye or whatever.
It-
Not that.
It's what we're saying in the books. When I'm saying you got to listen to Wisdom of Sages, it's not because you should listen to me so much, but it's because Bhishma speaks
Yeah.
in the Bhagavatam.
Oh, that's the title.
Lord
of the book,
Brahma
right?
speaks in
Bhishma's-
the Bhagavatam. Yudhisthira speaks in the Bhagavatam. Prahlad speaks. And you take all these people's monologues or dialogues and put them together. You have a big, weighty source of wisdom. And then you'll understand when you meet great personalities, how they should behave, what they're like. And it's not based on externals whatsoever.
Right.
Whatsoever.
And when you've got someone or some people in your life, like for instance, there are certain people that I consider mahajans, like walking the earth right now,
Yeah.
and these are people that I allow them to kind of shape, or shape my, let's say, like, adjust my lens, right? Like adjust my
Right.
focus, right? So
Right.
that like when I'm exposed to certain circumstance, I can really think, like, how do they interpret it? And it's not like it's some kind of blind following, but I understand their wisdom and how they would approach it, and then you begin to see the world through that lens,
Yeah.
I
You're
think
like
that's
that for
important.
me, Prabhu.
Oh, come on, guy.
You're my Mahajan.
I'm not your Mahajan.
Well,
my
you're
Mahajan.
a partial Mahajan. Sometimes we get into arguments
because we have the same
sometimes we get into
Mahajan.
arguments about stuff like, hey, no, it should be done this way. No, it should be done that way.
You mean like
know,
yesterday?
Yeah, like yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. This is what Raghunath does. Raghunath, he wants to get my buy-in on something, so he's talking to me like as if I'm part of the decision-making process. And then when I give him my opinion, he's just like, he throws up any excuse, like anything. He'll just throw, and like I'm knocking those excuses down, and he's think we're having an argument. It's like, Raghunath, if you want me to be part of the decision-making process, make me part of it, But if you just want if you just want my stamp
Well,
of approval,
sometimes
just
I
ask for it.
see through your Mahajan lenses, and sometimes I wrestle your lenses off your face.
Right. No, I think we have the same mahajans in our lives. So in,
Yeah, we
in a
do.
sense, we can help each other.
Yeah, I can help you.
Okay. You do. But I think it's time to get into Bhagavatam.
Let's do it. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord, Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the transcendental Lord will be established in the heart as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. You know what I realized, Prabhu?
Yeah, last second squirrel.
I got the squirrel.
It is. Yeah.
No, Wisdom of the Sages is to the Bhagavatam what the folk mass was at my church at St. Peter's growing up.
Folk mask.
The folk mass,
Yes.
like they had the regular mass upstairs, and if you just couldn't like
Handle
sit
that
through
boring.
it, you go downstairs to the folk mass, and therefore
Okay.
they had some priests
hip
who didn't
priest.
wear the outfits. They got 4 guys on guitars playing day by day instead of the traditional like Latin mass. You could
Wow.
clap, you could sing. You sat in folding chairs. There was refreshments afterwards. It was just
They
like
didn't
a
have
little,
that in
like-
my church.
Oh yeah, that's what kept me going for years to church.
I would go with
Dunkin'
my uncle.
Donuts. They would bait me with donuts.
I would go. You know, I
Bait,
would have,
bait me with donuts and Bob Dylan songs.
I would have to go to church. That's how you got into Bob Dylan. Okay, now the pieces are falling. Into
Blowing
place.
in the Wind, a very spiritual song.
All right. No,
How about you got to serve somebody? That's a
Yeah, yeah.
very spiritual song. It
know,
may
but
be the devil or it may be the Lord.
I
But
know
you
the
got to
song.
serve somebody.
Okay, but I would have to go to church, and then when I came home, my parents would always ask like, "Who was the priest?" Like that was the proof that like I went. You know,
You go to church. They send you to church alone.
like when I was getting a little older, like when I was like 12 or something like that.
You're
You know, it's like to
kidding.
go to church. Yeah.
They sent you to church alone.
I mean, when I was younger, we go together, but then when I was a little bit older, it was like, okay, you can go on your own, but you got to go. And sometimes my uncle would take me, who was my confirmation sponsor,
Yeah.
but he was like 10 years older than me. So he was kind of like, I was like closer in age to him than like
Right. He was
my
sort of
father
cool,
was.
cool
He was
uncle.
kind of like a big brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would go together and we'd both like just check, okay, see who the priest is. And then we just sit on the steps outside for the rest of the time, you know, because they would
just
never ask
wasn't-
us like, what did he talk about or anything like that? Because it's like, I don't know.
Just
you
what's
know?
his name? That's it. That's your confirmation that you went.
That was it. We just had to
Now
know
you
who
can
it
do that
was.
online.
Yeah.
It was Father Gordon. Father Gordon's
Father
giving-
Fragamini. Okay, let's go.
All right,
Raghunath.
let's get into this, Prabhu. All right. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 25.
25. So the Lord is speaking to Prahlad, not Prahlad, to Druva,
To Druva.
and he's telling him his future. He's giving him what do you call that?
An astrological
reading.
reading, a palm reading.
He's giving him a reading
Yeah.
of his future.
The personality of Godhead continued. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
My dear Druva, after your material life is. Did we say Druva is one of the mahajans?
I don't think he is.
Okay, my dear Druva, after your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which is always offered obeisances by the residents of all the other planetary systems. Okay, so everybody is appreciating Druva's planet. It is situated above the planets of the 7 rishis. That's pretty cool. The 7 rishis, those are the Sapta rishis. They're the first sons of Brahma, or
Mhm.
from the original sons of Brahma. It's situated above the planets of the 7 rishis, and having gone there, you'll never have to come back again to this material world. So he's got
Okay.
a spiritual planet.
Yeah, it's like this planet. It's kind of like it's a planet within the material world, but then when the whole material world falls apart, it just kind of like exists in the spiritual realm beyond that, or something like that.
Interesting, isn't it?
It's very, yeah. But you know what's happening here is Druva. You know, he was standing in front of Lord Vishnu.
Yeah.
You know, his meditation broke. He opened his eyes. There's Lord Vishnu. He can't speak, and then Lord Vishnu places the conch shell on his head, and then he's able to speak. He offers these words of glorification, deep realizations, and then Lord Vishnu says to him, "I'm so pleased with you. You came out here with a desire. Remember, you wanted a kingdom greater than your father.
Yep.
I'm going to give it to you now." And he's saying, you know, it's really beyond imagination what he achieved, right? It's like I'm going
Right.
to give you a whole planet, you know, and that planet is no ordinary planet, you know, and you're gonna rule that planet for what is it, like 36
Ridiculous amount of years,
100,000 years or something like that, you know. So and his body is not going to grow old, you know. So he's going to have like this. He's got this. He's and what you see. Bhagavatam's always like this. There's one point that's just driving home again and again, and that is that any endeavor other than pure bhakti is not worthy of you, is not worthy of your soul, right?
Over your time and effort. And here's also what I get from this. Krishna gives you, and I find this to be true, Krishna gives you more than you even
That's right.
desire. And Krishna gives you desires that you don't even know you had. You're like, when you get that, you're like, actually, I actually desired this, and Krishna gave me this. Do you ever find that? Like Krishna's giving me more than I even know. I actually did want this, and Krishna gave that to me.
That's true.
It just happens that way.
It's
and the
true.
things I really thought I did want, I don't even want them. I don't even want them anymore.
Well, that's the key to all of this, right? Like Vishnu saying, here, take this and take more and take more and take more. And what we're seeing is now Druva, like sometimes we say Indra is like the most successful materialist, right?
Right.
But Bhagavatam showing that even he suffers, even he's in anxiety, even that there's no way that any level of materialism is going to satisfy us. Because look, even the guy that's best at it is not satisfied. And here what we're hearing is even the greatest yogi, like even the greatest Ashtanga yogi, none of us could ever be as powerful in our Ashtanga yoga practice as Druva, right?
No.
Standing on one leg for
even if you're doing 6 series of Ashtanga yoga.
It's way beyond 6 series. This is
way
like
beyond
6,000 or something like that. Yeah, his breathing is affecting the entire universe. It's like no matter how expert we became at Ashtanga yoga, we'd never be as expert as Druva. And he, in a sense, he becomes the most successful materialist too, because he gets a planet that's even beyond like what Indra has.
Yeah.
So, but he's still not satisfied. And his dissatisfaction has to do with it. This is the point. It's saying that in this world, in our journey through this world, even when we start getting clued into spirituality, unless we have that focus right, or it's the intent that's everything, right? In other words, it's not our expertise, it's not our self-discipline, it's not our learning. Like these are all great things, but they're ladders up against the wrong wall. And until they're finally pointed at pure devotion, that all I want is you. And so Dhruva's being given everything. And it's really interesting. Like if this were a film, as Lord Vishnu is like pouring everything on, and you're looking at, and then the camera focuses on Dhruva's face, and you think he'd be like eyes wide open, like, this is great, everything I want and I'm getting. But that's not where he's at. He's thinking, what did I do? Here he is giving me material things. What relationship do I have with this person? I want my relationship to be like, I love you. You love me. And he's giving me material things because he knows my mind and he knows my heart. And I want to, why did I approach
like
this with
Amazon Prime? Why am
like
I
Amazon
doing
Prime? I'm treating him like Amazon Prime. Like he's just like, some like website that gives me the things that I want. What an idiot I am.
One click. Give me the entire people, bundle it, Krishna. People who buy this usually buy these as well. Okay, I'll take them all. People who wish for this usually wish for these.
Right. So it's not power, material power. It's not material opulence. It's not knowledge. It's not self-discipline. It's not detachment. None of these things, which are all spoken about in the Vedic literature, just like we read from Yudhishthira, right? It's like the Vedas are they're talking about all these things, and they're showing how all these things are virtuous in one sense. Like, if you're very detached in one sense, there's a certain virtue, but it's the purity of our intention that's everything, right? Even if I'm not so learned, even if I'm not so self-disciplined, but if my intention is pure, if that intention is love, right? I just want to approach God with love. That's all I want. That's why the gopis, they become the greatest. They're the yogeshwaris. They're the greatest yogis of all, because they just approach. They weren't learned in Shastra, right? No. They're not in one sense materially detached. They're like kind of village girls, but their intention was the purest and most intense, that they just wanted to serve and love Krishna. That was it.
You know what I took away from all your whole soliloquy, Prabhu?
What's that?
You said something and I forgot it, but it was something like, Krishna, all I want is you.
All I want is you.
Did he say that?
Yeah,
Krishna,
it's as simple
Krishna.
As that, right?
That's going to be our mantra today. Everybody, you hear me?
That's a t-shirt, right?
That's our mantra. Krishna, all I want is you.
All I want is you.
Krishna, all I want is you. I just want to see you. I just want to see you, Krishna.
Right. Yeah, I just want to serve you. I just want to serve you.
I just want to see you.
Well, because the gopis would be like, even if I don't see you, if it makes you happy, I'll serve you. In other words, if I can serve you better by not seeing you, then I won't see you. I just want to serve you.
How about Krishna? All I want is you.
That's
better.
Well, we'll
sell more shirts. Okay. Some people are like, well, I don't want to serve. I just want to see him. Okay.
So anyway, that's so again, as all of this is being given to Druva, and we focus in on his face, he's like, "What did I do? What did I do?" I approached him like Amazon Prime, you know, and he's responding to me like Amazon Prime, in a sense, you know.
Yeah. So that's the North Star, isn't it?
The pole star, yeah.
The pole star is the North Star.
I think they're the same thing, right?
No, if people
Someone help us.
everyone's like, I don't know. I know the moon. Okay. Continuing on. Made it through one verse.
Yeah.
Text 26. The great sage Maitreya said, after being worshipped and honored by the boy, Druva Maharaj, and after offering him his abode, Lord Vishnu on the back of Garuda returned to his abode as Druva Maharaj looked on. So he came, swooped down. Imagine just seeing flying off into the, into outer space on a giant eagle.
Like any big bird like that is kind of like kind of fascinating to watch, right? But Garuda, can you imagine Lord Vishnu on top of him flying off? He's flapping those big wings.
It sounds like a myth. It's not. This is real. This is real. You can actually see Lord Vishnu. He'll come, he'll land on the eagle, and then you're just like in transcendental ecstasy. And now, when Vishnu leaves, the heart is going to be churned up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshiping the lotus feet of the Lord, Druva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus, he returned to his home.
That's the whole message here, right? He should be totally pleased, but he's not. Why isn't he pleased?
Let's see why.
Yeah.
The doer said, he went to, my dear Brahmana, the abode of the Lord is very difficult to attain. It can be attained only by pure bhakti, which alone pleases the most affectionate, merciful Lord. Okay. Druva Maharaj achieved this position even in one life. And he was very wise and conscientious. Why then was he not very pleased?
Okay, so there's the question, right? It's
right. So Vidura is asking this to Maitreya. They are the narrators, and he's saying, "Yeah, why he got it in one life? He got everything. He got everything. Why is he still unsatisfied?"
Okay. Yeah.
And here's Maitreya's answer. Druva Maharaj's heart, which was pierced by the arrows of harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly aggrieved. And thus, when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. Interesting.
Okay, so so in other words, he went there with the
ego
mind
was a little
still
hurt.
Clouded. Yeah,
he was still clouded. He's surrendering to God, but he's still got a little resentment in his heart. Now, he did not demand actual liberation from this material world, but at the end of his devotional service, when the personality of God had appeared before him, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind.
Okay, so it was I approached him with the wrong heart, right?
Druva Maharaj thought to himself, to endeavor to be situated in the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord is not an ordinary task, because even the great brahmacharis headed by Sanandana, that's one of the four Kumaras, who practiced Ashtanga yoga in trance, attained the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet only after many, many births. Within 6 months. What?
Yeah.
Within 6 months, I achieved the same result. Yet due to my thinking differently from the Lord, I fell down from my position. That's it? 6 months?
It was incredible what he accomplished.
Man, I've been trying to knock off these rounds now for 35 years. He did this for 6 months.
It was intense.
It's called the Bhakti immersion he was doing.
Yeah.
Got a 6-month immersion for you. It's gonna be like our ashram month at the farm. Think about that.
Text 31.
31. Alas, just look at me. I'm so unfortunate. I approached the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, who could immediately cut the chain of the repetition of birth and death. But still, out of my foolishness, I prayed for things that are perishable. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Praying for the perishable things
of
this world. We own nothing. Everything is perishable.
That's right.
It's hard to believe that. It's hard to get it. It's all perishable. Since all of the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary systems will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by bhakti, by devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instructions of the sage Narada?
Interesting. I mean, this is a theme that comes up occasionally, right, in these kind of texts where the devas, they're these like, to get that, again, like all those roles of the demigods, when we say the demigods, the god of the sun, the god of the moon, the god of the rain, like all these important Indra and Surya and, Chandra.
They're like the 1%, you know what I mean? They're like the halves.
But it's not even 1%, right? It's 0.0000000. Like
they have it all. They're all famous, all popular, all beautiful. They live incredibly long times. They have everything, and they're still playing them. They're still sort of like in that material world.
Exactly.
Thing.
Yeah. It's like they got these incredibly important responsibilities and incredibly, an incredible opulence. So it's like they are important people, just like the most important in the universe.
The Rothschilds.
What have you been reading, Raghunath?
The robber barons.
But they're still not free of anxiety. So when they fear that someone's going to come and take their post, right? They fear, just like we see even like these presidents, they're so old and they're just afraid that someone's going to come and take it from them, right? They're afraid that their time's going to run out and life is just not going to be as exciting and they're not going to be as important. And so when they see that some yogi has like this incredible self-discipline, they think that person is going to become so powerful that they're going to take over my position.
Mm-hmm.
And so like sometimes when Indra sees like there's a yogi that's becoming super incredibly self-disciplined and focused, what does he do?
They become envious.
And
The Buddhism, they challenge them. They tempt them. They tempt them
with
fineries. With
fineries. No, they send a beautiful,
is that a word?
They send a beautiful, seductive, heavenly maiden, right?
That's a finery.
Yeah.
They send upma, refined foods.
I don't think
beautiful women. Anything to tempt your senses.
Yeah.
And so, there's that famous, I was looking for a tanka. When I was in Kathmandu, I was looking for a tanka that had Buddha being tempted by the demons. Ever see that picture? There's a famous picture. There's Buddha sitting in meditation and all the demons are like, come on, don't do it. Trust me. It's like the devil. Right. Like the devil always getting tempted. So when we get on this spiritual path, it is like that express elevator at the Empire State Building. It doesn't stop at any floors. It goes right to the promenade at the top of the building. So in Bhakti, we're taking that express elevator, and all the demigods are like, where are you going? Where are you going?
And actually, it's well, I suppose Druva, it was like they knew he's got to focus. He wants the highest planet, and he's super determined. And we haven't seen someone come along with this kind of self-discipline in a long time.
I'm going to go with this analogy. This is a good analogy. Okay. The 4th floor, fine jewelry. Come on, get off the elevator. The 6th floor, fine garments. Come on, check out these new trousers. Come on. The 8th floor, toys, games, outdoor barbecues, whatever. We're getting tempted at every floor.
Mm-hmm. Huh? Outdoor barbecues. That's a sticky one right there.
It's a sticky. People like barbecues in America.
All right.
So my point is we're getting tempted at every floor. And what do you want? Do you want the express elevator? Do you want Krishna's lotus feet? Express elevator to Krishna's lotus feet? Or do you want outdoor cookery? Right? Do you want what's behind? Remember that show?
Price is Right?
The Price is... No. The Let's Make a Deal. Do you want this? Or what's behind curtain number 4?
All right.
And curtain number 3. And then they open it up and there's like, whoa, a washer and dryer. And everyone's like, remember that? So we're always going to get tempted. Krishna's like, do you want me or do you want this? And the pure devotee is saying, I want you, Krishna. All I want is you. All I really want is your lotus feet. I trust you, Krishna. You are mine. You are my object of meditation. And they're like, are you sure? Because I got this. And you're like, nope, don't want that. And so they're flying over the head of the demigods. The demigods aren't bad. They're just like, they have some desires too. And they can't understand how this puny, because humans are sort of puny in the big picture of evolved beings. We're puny. How is this being jumping right over our heads? And they start to challenge us. They start to challenge us and offer us things.
You know, Raghunath, when I read this, I think the popular song. It's a song that you should have been into as a Dylan person, although it's not Dylan.
Tell me.
We may have mentioned it before, but that Neil Young song, "Heart of Gold."
Oh yeah, we read those lyrics on the show,
Did
man.
we?
Remember?
Yeah.
We read
Yeah,
those lyrics on the show.
So the point is this: is that like in that song, right? It's like I've been here, I've been there, right? I like I've been to Hollywood, right? Like fame and fortune and all that. I've been to Redwood, like I've gone into nature and tried to leave it all behind. You know, I've tried to embrace materialism. I've tried to turn my back on materialism. You know, and still I'm not sad. Why? Because I don't have this heart of gold. Now, what? Yeah,
it's you too. I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Well, it's also the Spice Girls. You know,
what do they do? Tell me what I want. What I really, really want. That one.
Yeah, but there you go. So
it's everybody. I can't. It's a Rolling Stones. I can't get no satisfaction.
Right.
It's like, how many different languages do we have to say this in? How many different styles of music do we have to say this in? The material world. And these are people who've got, I mean, the Rolling Stones, the U2, they've done everything that we've never done. They've lived the dreams that that most of us will never do. They've had hundreds of thousands of people worship them, sing their words from the audience, word for word of all their songs while they're on stage getting worship. And they are still the Buzzcocks, hollow inside. They're still hollow inside. The Buzzcocks, hollow inside. Yeah, that is just what's going on in the material realm.
And so then one comes to the Vedas, right, which are, you know, wow, these are incredible books with incredible wisdom in them. It's incredible poetry with this knowledge and insights. Let me find what I'm looking for here, right? Let me find what I'm looking for here. But as Yudhishthir said, simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path of Dharma, right? Mm-hmm. It's like because the Vedas are presented in such a way where it's like they're nuanced in the sense that they can appeal to you on whatever level you're at, that you might get confused that a lower teaching is the highest teaching, right? And so you embrace this or you embrace that, and you like, for instance, Druva was doing yoga, right?
Yeah,
he was doing yoga, which is, you know, a Vedic science, and he was doing it with super expertise, you know. Yeah. But he realized that wasn't it, right? The whole point is that we're meant to develop this heart of gold. This is what we have to understand.
Neil Young was right there, wasn't he? He was just so close. He sort of got it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bono, I mean, they were right on the doorstep of the absolute truth.
Yeah, so
the Spice Girls, Sporty Spice was like right next to Krishna's feet and just turned around.
I'm not sure if the Spice Girls are as close. I think Neil Young might have been a little bit closer, but
Sporty Spice is pretty spiritual.
Okay. But this is the point. It's the purity of our intention. When our intention is nothing but pure love for that source, for that root of all existence, and through that, pure love for everyone. That's all that we're meant to develop. And some yogis, you know, Raghunath, you mentioned, I don't like to get into getting into these different spiritual teachers too much and talking about them by name and you know,
calling them out.
You mentioned Sadhguru. Okay. You mentioned Sadhguru yesterday, right?
Sure. Yes, Sadhguru.
And I watched some clip with him. It actually wasn't a clip, but I watched like 15 minutes of, I don't know, an hour and a half or something, like where he's speaking with his rabbi. It was interesting, you know. The rabbi was really cool. I liked the guy, and I think they were in Los Angeles, so he's got this kind of like, it seemed like he's got like kind of a progressive Jewish
mega church.
I don't know if it was a mega church.
Mega synagogue.
No, in other words, what I'm saying is it seemed to me like a kind of, I don't know if progressive
Reformed Jewish.
Is that the word, reformed? Like
Reformed
less
Jews.
Orthodox. Yeah.
Less Orthodox, Reformed.
And so he's interviewing Sadhguru. Just the fact that he's bringing Sadhguru in front of all of his people and questioning him and so on is, you know, indicates kind of where he was at. I could see that the interviewer was real intelligent. And so Sadhguru was answering his questions, and you know, his answers were, in a sense, largely good. I can see he's very intelligent, and he's studied all this. But he did something that I appreciated. He said something that I totally disagree with, But I appreciate that he said it. Yeah, because what did he
say?
Well, he said that
What did he
love,
say that you disagreed with, but you appreciated?
he said that love is not an existential reality. It's just something that's happening in your mind. There's no truth.
Fabricate
to
it. You fabricate.
Yeah, it's just like fear, or it's just like a thing that blows through a mind. Truth and reality is something beyond love. Okay. And then the rabbi said, well, give me an example of something that is an existential reality. And he said, well, being, we are just being. Now that is,
basically, it's impersonal philosophy.
but it's real impersonal philosophy. And that's why I appreciate it. In other words, he didn't try to mix in bhakti language, bhakti imagery, but, which is kind of became a trend, because as bhakti became so powerful and influential in India, you had Shankaracharya, who's teaching Advaita Vedanta, who's teaching pure impersonalism. They say love is an illusion.
Right.
We say love is an existential reality. So, okay, great. We disagree. Let's keep it clear, right? Don't teach that we're all God and that there's only one, and then blend in talk about love and like you become love. You say this kind of like very ambiguous kind of thing that just love means one person has love for another. That's what love means. There has to be two. So come right out and say it. And I appreciate that Sadhguru said, okay, great. You believe that love is an illusion, that it's not an existential reality. We believe that love is an existential reality. Therefore, when an impersonalist approaches the Vedic teachings, they think that idea of bhakti or love, it may be something that you use to kind of like get you to the next step, but you got to let it go to get to the highest truth. Now, Bhagavad Gita teaches something very different than that. Bhagavatam very clearly teaches something different than that, right? Krishna will say there's no truth superior to me, Krishna will say it's only through bhakti that you can understand me. So if you want to understand the highest truth, it has to be through love. And that love isn't an illusion. That love is really what we're made of. And so, therefore, when we look at the Vedic literature, we're looking at it not to become the most disciplined, not to become the most learned, but to actually have that pure heart, to have a heart of gold. That's actually the whole point. That's where it all ultimately leads.
All right, man. You just whipped off about 5 hashtags in that whole last soliloquy you just did,
Okay,
including "Love is what we're made of." That is a
Oh.
best-selling T-shirt. Love is what we're made
Sadhguru won't
of.
appreciate it, but
Sadhguru won't like it. That's also a T-shirt. Sadhguru won't like it.
Okay. But again, at least I appreciated that he's presenting an honest. He's not taking from bhakti and then putting out this confusing message. So at least I'll give him props for that.
Okay, good. All right, it's time for takeaways, my friend. That was a fun show today, wasn't it?
I think so.
Here with the live OG crew, Tom Essig and Mara G. All right, Mara, what you got? Yeah, don't wreck the mic,
God.
Mara. Just stick your rubber neck in there. Just crank it over. I'll move over.
Have conviction on keeping the main thing the main thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Bhagavatam delivers on its promises.
Yeah. You got something for Heart of Gold? Heart of-
Yes, we're getting there.
Okay.
Patient.
Faith comes in small increments.
Yep.
Study the great mahajans to recognize what a great soul is.
There you go.
Yep. Sort of like that's not really a hashtag, but that's a good takeaway.
Follow the
That's what we're
Mahajanas.
doing, takeaways.
I guess these are takeaways. Okay.
Any endeavor other than bhakti isn't worthy.
Of your soul.
That
soul.
sounds fanatical. But
No,
right?
It's not worthy of your soul. I like that.
Not worthy of your-
Like your soul has so much more potential than that. That's not worthy of your soul.
Okay. All right.
Raghunath gives in. All right.
It's not our expertise or self-discipline. It's the purity of our intention and love.
Say that again.
You said it's not our expertise or self-discipline. It's
Right.
the purity of our intention and
There
love.
you go. Not detachment.
We're meant to develop a heart of gold.
We're meant to develop a heart of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Don't treat God like Amazon Prime.
Don't do
We
it.
say that a lot.
Because
We
he'll
say
treat
that a
you
lot.
like
That's a good
Amazon
one.
Prime.
That is a mug.
Yeah. Krishna, all I want is you.
There you go.
And take the express elevator to Krishna's lotus feet.
Woo! I would have been one of those woo girls. Woo! Like in
Now, you know
Nashville.
who Karuna is reminding me of today, Raghunath?
Guns N' Roses.
No, that was you. You thought Guns N' Roses. I thought
Who?
Rhoda. Rhoda.
Rhoda. No one knows who Rhoda is. You're so old.
Yeah.
Even Mara doesn't know who Rhoda is.
I was like, who? No, remember Rhoda?
Yeah. Henry,
Mary Tyler Moore show.
Hannah
She used to
Brinkhouse.
host that kind of thing, right?
Rhoda. And from Rhoda spinned off Phyllis. Right?
I don't remember Phyllis.
What? Rhoda. You know who Rhoda is? No. You know who Rhoda's sister is?
Who?
Rhoda's sister is Marge Simpson.
Oh, does the voice?
The voice of Marge Simpson's Rhoda's sister.
Like her real sister or her sister on
No,
the
her
show?
sister on the show, on Rhoda, which is a spinoff of Mary Tyler Moore.
Right.
And Mary Tyler Moore, if you want the God honest truth, I was in love with. As a child. I had a childhood crush on Mary
Going
Tyler
back
Moore.
to Dick Van Dyke Show?
Yeah. I had a childhood crush on Mary Tyler Moore and Julie Andrews.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Now you know what I like in a woman.
No, we can. Let's take that to a psychologist and figure out what that tells us about you.
Oh, Krishna,
you're opening
thank
yourself
you,
up here. You're making yourself very vulnerable with that, Raghunath, because we could probably mine that for like all kind of inside information on what makes you tick.
It makes me tick. Who can take? You know what? Do you remember when Husker Du did a cover of the Mary Tyler Moore theme song?
I don't remember that.
Who can change the world on with a smile? Who can take a nothing date? Suddenly make it all seem worthwhile. Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. That is a good song, man. You can take Mary Tyler Moore out of it and put it in Radharani, and you can completely Krishna conscious Braj Bhakti.
You could.
I make all love songs into Braj songs. I turn them all into Vrindavan songs. Every love song you can think of. Don't go breaking my heart.
Let's not think of any more.
I wouldn't if I tried. Loving you is easy because you're beautiful. Every day of my life is filled with loving you. La 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 la. They're all Vrindavan songs, man.
All right.
Love is higher than a mountain. Love is thicker than water. Everything.
Good to know, Raghunath. Good to know.
Raghu's ecstatic noises. You just gave him all the fodder.
What's Mara saying? I can't hear Mara.
Maturanand is Googling Mary Tyler Moore right now. Ha.
See what you've done?
I was saying that Uddhava Sandesh is going to have a ball with the last 3 minutes of Raghu's audio for his next Raghu's ecstatic noises.
Oh, ecstatic noises, yeah. He's trying to squeeze the whole next edition into like one little
Making it
thing
easy
here.
for him.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
let's get-
Karuna's nicknamed me Mr. Squirrel.
Oh yeah.